Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today for this Ask Money event titled Mind Your Money, an Introduction to the Psychology of Spending. We're really glad that you could join us today from across Saskatchewan. We're spanning across a lot of treaty territories today, so we're very excited that you could join us today. My name is Aaron Adair. I'm a program coordinator with the Saskatoon Industry-Education Council, and I am coming to you from Saskatoon, which is Treaty 6 and homeland of the Métis people. So today, I'm going to give you a little bit of a quick overview about the Saskatoon Industry-Education Council, just so you know a little bit about us. And then I'm going to turn it over to our guest speaker today, who is Gary Rusyn from the Credit Counselling Society, who's going to tell you all this interesting stuff about our spending habits and what influences our spending, and giving you some tips along the way too. So we're really excited about this today. And I just got to say too that if you're watching this live, I hope you're keeping safe. I know that there's a big storm going on across our province right now, so I really hope that everyone is safe and happy today. So folks, I'm just going to start us off actually with a quick poll, because this is going to help Gary with his presentation just a little bit. So if you are logged on individually, this one will be pretty easy for you, but teachers, you can answer this poll on behalf of your students if you wish. Just wondering what grade level or role fits you best on your screen there. So whether you're in grade 6 to grade 12, or perhaps even younger, or a teacher or parent. Maybe we have some community members with us. Just give you a minute to fill that in. Well, we got a lot of grade 8s with us today. Oh, we got some grade 12s. Hello, grade 12s. You just got a few months left. You're doing well. Nice to see we got some variety here for sure. All right, that's really good. Okay, so we have some high school and a lot of grade 7 and 8s with us, so that is awesome. Very, very good to see. So thank you for sharing that. I know that that's going to help Gary with his delivery of this information. Now, as I told you, we are with the Saskatoon Industry-Education Council, and we are a registered nonprofit organization that works in partnership with the 3 school divisions that you see at the bottom of your screen, as well as the Saskatoon Tribal Council, community-based organizations, government agencies, and employers to nurture the workforce of tomorrow. And what that means is that we provide career development and discovery opportunities for youth, such as yourselves, for educators and career practitioners through customized programming. So we put on a lot of programming to help students find that career pathway that suits them. And on your screen, you can see a whole bunch of programs that some of you may have heard of before. On the top line, the top 4 there, are some programs that would really appeal to those of you in grade 7 or 8. I think teachers, you may have heard of the SaskCode Coding and Robotics program, which is an SIEC program. We have a website called Contact 360. If any of you are thinking of applying for a job, or just thinking about getting ready for applying for a job, I definitely recommend that you check that out. Our employability program is on there, so you can get some tips about resume and cover letter building and stuff like that. And our Relevance magazine, we're really excited that the 2022 issue is coming out on November the 24th. So you'll be able to go to contact360.ca to get the digital copy of that new Relevance Career Discovery magazine. People across Saskatchewan will be excited to see that. For those grade 12s who said they're joining us today, the programs at the bottom are definitely for high school, and those of you grade 7 and 8, you can look forward to these in the future. Our skills boot camp programs are up and running right now, so you can develop some skills for your future work. Our Connected event, we just had one at the start of November. It was a fantastic evening for young women and mentors around the community. Summer Youth Internship Program, if you want to get a head start on a career in the trades, make some money, earn some credits along the way, and get some apprenticeship hours. Really good opportunity for you. And our Spotlight on Careers program, this is one where you get an opportunity to just take a look at different career paths that you may be interested in, learn about post-secondary opportunities, and meet some professionals in the industry. Of course, we're doing a lot of this virtually nowadays. So as you can see on your screen, each month we're focusing on a different sector. So if any of these sectors look like possibilities for something that you may be interested in the future, go and check out our website, and definitely come back and the coming months to check out the information that we'll be adding. We're going to have some live events that you can take part in as well. You may find something that you're really interested in, and you may find something you just want to cross off your list, and that's okay too when you're trying to discover your career path. I'm just going to back up one here and just mention saskatooniec.ca is where you can find all of that information. Okay, folks? I also wanted to tell you about our Sask Money website. Sask Money is a website that we launched last year during Financial Literacy Month. It is Financial Literacy Month, by the way, right now. So happy Financial Literacy Month, everybody. Can I hear you say it back? No, I can't hear you. We have a whole bunch of resources on here for your financial literacy learning, teachers, all of the suggested activities and resources that you need on here. So definitely come and check this out. And we're adding some more content in the next week or so. So excited to share that with you. Also, on that site, you'd find some information about a couple really exciting projects for young people across Canada, and we're really hoping that young people in Saskatchewan get a chance to take part in these ones. Now, teachers, you can use these as class projects for your financial literacy, practical and applied arts learning, or students, if you're unable to do this as a class project, you could enter these contests on your own and check it out. So if you're 8 to 14, so up to grade 8, okay, you have the opportunity to win up to $2,000 if your prize gets, or your project gets selected to go to the national contest. We had a young man named Rashid from Regina last year who made it to the finals. We were so proud of him. And you can see that you can access this on our middle years resources page on saskmoney.ca or the Talk With Our Kids About Money website on your screen. High school students, My Money, My Future, you can win up to $10,000 for developing a resource that'll teach your peers about financial literacy, a certain aspect of it. So definitely want to pre-register for that if you're going on your own. For teachers, we can help you get started, get these projects set up, even pop into your class virtually to just give kids an overview of this, whatever you'd like to do. All of that information is available, and you can contact us as well for more information, okay? So folks, I am happy that we are actually able to do this virtually today because we're reaching over 900 students across the province today, and our guest speaker today, Gary Rusyn, is joining us all the way from Ottawa, so it's fantastic that we have this opportunity to do this virtually. Gary is a Credit Counselling Society's financial educator. He has over 15 years of experience in the finance industry as well as teaching high school, so he's used to talking to young people like yourselves. He's a certified educator in personal finance, and he strives to practice what he teaches, and that is what we love about Gary. So we're really excited that he could be here today. And before I really turn it over to Gary, and he pops up on your screen here, I do have one more question for you folks. Oh, how about number 2? We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So poll question number 2 here. And again, teachers, you can answer on behalf of your class if you're watching just as an entire group. Here is our question before Gary gets started. So just wondering, for the students here, what is a goal that you have for your money right now or in the future? Maybe you're saving to buy a new phone, you want some new clothes, you're going to donate it or help someone in need or help your family. Perhaps you're going to save for your education or saving for a bigger purchase. What are some of those goals that you have for your money? So you can answer that poll question right now. Just going to give a second for those questions to pop in here. Here we go. Oh, we're looking even right now between phone, clothes, education, and the bigger purchases. All right. All right, education and bigger purchases just popped in the lead. I feel like I am commenting on a chuck wagon race right now. Oh, help my family and donate are in there too. Good on you, people. Good on you. That's a really good thing. All right. So last second here. And there we go. So most of you said that you're saving for a bigger purchase in the future, and many of you said that you're saving for your education, and that's really good to hear. And by the way, Gary and I realize that everybody who's listening today, people are at different stages of their financial journey. Some may not have a lot of money on hand, and that's okay, because we can start thinking about managing our money and what we want our financial situation to look like in the future, right? And I also am going to mention, folks, that there is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and that is how you can interact with Gary today. So if you have any questions for our financial expert from the Credit Counselling Society, type a question into that Q&A, and later on in our event today, I will pose a few of your questions to Gary, and he will be able to answer them for you. So anything you're thinking about spending your money or saving money or just money in general, you can ask those questions in the Q&A, okay? So Gary, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Ottawa. We're really excited you're here, and I'm going to turn it over to you right now, okay?
Pleasure, thank you. I appreciate it, Aaron. Welcome everyone. I'm going to just do a couple of technical things here so I can share my screen with you all. All right, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. I'll also turn off the video in just a second. So thank you for the introduction, Aaron. I really do appreciate it. As Aaron said, yes, I've been around in the financial world for, yes, 15 plus years. But the Credit Counselling Society, I just want to make it or let you all know that we are a nonprofit charity, and we do span the country from as far as Vancouver all the way to Ottawa, which is again where I am. And we do that credit counseling, the budget counseling, as well as the education piece. So my thing with today is I really want to, get some points across, just let you know what's out there, what's going on when it comes to marketing, how they influence us when it comes to buying certain things. And I'm going to throw in some personal stuff as well. So if you have any questions, throw it in the Q&A, or we can wait till the end. That's not a problem. Aaron will stop me with the questions, and we have another poll later on as well. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Gary, we got a few coming in already, and we'll get to those questions a little bit later on. So keep those questions coming, everyone. We really appreciate your participation today.
Love it. All right. So at Credit Counselling Society, our main mission at CCS is we help, we educate, we give hope. Now, here are some of the top reasons we see for financial trouble. Now, when it comes to this financial trouble, some of the things that go with it is the unemployment, the underemployment, the excess of use credit, basically using credit for everyday use, injury or illness and no budget, lack of financial education. Now, we're not born with that financial literacy. We do learn it a little bit in school. Obviously, that's what we're doing here. Some teachers will teach it as well. And we also learn a little bit from our parents. Not that it's bad stuff, it's probably good stuff. It's just, it is limited on what they're going to teach us because they probably don't want us to make any mistakes that they've made in their past. Okay. Separation, divorce is another one for us, failed business, as well as high housing costs. I do talk about it more later on, but one of the things that I like to add in here that we are seeing for that financial trouble, because of the pandemic, everything that's going on right now, a lot of our purchases are being made online. Now, with that, they're trying to make it as easy as possible, do it all in one click, 2 clicks, etc. So save your credit card info on the website. My recommendation, do your best not to do that. Having that extra click will eliminate that impulse buy, that buying right away, even though you might not need it and you don't really have the time to actually think about what you're purchasing. Okay, so if you're like me, I'm an impulse buyer. My wife hates that, by the way, but sometimes I'll just go out, especially if I go to stores like Lowe's or like Canadian Tire or something like that. I guarantee I'm coming out with something. It's almost a guarantee. So I've started leaving my wallet and stuff in the car. If you're purchasing stuff online, don't save the credit card info on the website. Okay. Now, jumping into the agenda, what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at marketing influences, the subconscious of spending, as well as protecting ourselves. We're also going to take a look at some of these stats. So the global market research industry is worth $1.7 trillion. 49% of millennials aged 23 to 38 spent money due to social media influences. And looking at that age range, I can easily increase that age range to probably 15 to even 45. Okay. We talked about it on one of the earlier sessions. Social media right now is huge. Things like TikTok, Instagram, that kind of thing. They are really marketing and pushing people to buy certain things. There's a lot of TikTok trends that everyone is trying. So these are some of the things that they know if they influence you or they throw up an ad, more people are more likely to buy it. 1 in 4 adults experience a fear of missing out. As well, if someone actually wins the lottery, their neighbors are more likely to go bankrupt. And what that means is, let's say I win the lottery, chances are my neighbors are going to end up losing all their money because they're trying to keep up with us. Okay, so it's a surprising fact, but it's actually true. Okay. Now, how do marketers influence your decisions? Well, some of the things that they do is the external pressure, so that advertising, the social media, as well, friends, family, and colleagues. You'd be shocked at how much friends, family, and colleagues can actually affect your buying decisions. The internal pressure, like the emotion, keeping up, or belonging, is another big one. We're going to take a look at some of those internal ones. Looking at the emotions, retailers know if they can get you to feel something, you're more likely to buy it. Like that sense of belonging, the importance, feeling beautiful or attractive, smart, the fear, the unique, as well as pleasure. Okay, they know to play with your heartstrings. They know how to play with your emotions to get you to actually purchase something. Now, what is it? What feelings are being sold? When it comes to this, one thing that certainly you can't click on the link right now, and I'm not going to because internet connectivity has been a little bit poor on my end, but you can totally Google this, the Axe advertising. Has anyone, or if you're sitting here, listening to me talk, there's commercials about Axe body spray. Now, with the Axe body spray, they always, in the commercials, it's always usually a guy spraying himself with this Axe body spray all over, and he's making himself irresistible to women. Okay. I can tell you firsthand, my wife hates it, so I'm not irresistible to all women. Okay. It's as simple as that. Now, when it comes to that Axe body spray, something to consider is they're starting to actually come out with a women's one, but it's always geared towards men right now. Okay. The other one is Dove advertising. It used to be all geared towards, those beautiful women, et cetera, et cetera. And right now they've started to actually diversify, and it doesn't matter your shape, your size, anything like that. Even men, you could use Dove and have nice, smooth, silky skin. Okay. So certainly take a look at these advertising, see how they're marketing it, take a look, Google it, and see what you think. Okay. Now, with that sense of belonging, some things to keep in mind: feeling of being exclusive, that special part of that unique group. Now, sometimes you might think yoga pants, you think of maybe that spiritual side, the yoga, relaxation, feeling at ease, but you could also think, sporty, you could also think athletic, or you may even think of a specific brand. And we're going to talk about brands later on, but yoga pants, you might think Lululemon. Okay. As a side note, for all of you that might be wearing yoga pants or leggings, the Costco ones that they sell at Costco are actually Lululemon yoga pants, just at a cheaper price. So that's just a little tidbit for all of you. Designer accessories. Will you look at a designer accessory and think, oh, that person's pretty classy. Look at their Coach purse or Michael Kors or something like that. When I see that, my first impressions is certainly I want to go and talk to the people and ask them where they got it, because I might want to buy my wife that. Or I also think, okay, what discount store did they buy that at? I want to find that discount store because they might have other stuff. Okay. What about the latest phone? Okay. We did that poll before, and some of you did put in that you're looking to buy a phone. Now, when it comes to buying a phone, they're pretty pricey right now. The prices have totally gone up on these phones. Now, are you just doing it because it's the newest phone and you want to keep up with the Joneses? Or is it that you actually care about having the new technology, having a better camera? Is it something that you use for certain things, or you want to become maybe a photographer later on? So looking at these latest phones, take a look at, why am I doing it? Why am I actually buying this new phone? Retailers know that if you identify with a group, you're more likely to actually buy their product. Okay. That sense of liking. So if a celebrity endorses the product, you may actually transfer your like of that person. Okay. For example, Under Armour. If you look at Under Armour, you may think The Rock, Dwayne Johnson right away. You know, he's pretty buff, lots of tattoos, but he also has his Under Armour line. Okay. And if you've ever looked at the prices of his stuff with his logo compared to the actual Under Armour just plain t-shirt, it's amazing the markup in price. But people are buying it because The Rock has it, you know. So take a look at that, see what, you know, is that influencing your purchase when it comes to Under Armour? What about Michael Jordan? You might think Chicago Bulls, you might think, you know, his running shoes, basketball. Even back in the day, he used to do Fruit of the Loom, if I'm not mistaken, boxer commercials or Hanes or something like that, you know. But when you think of Michael Jordan, you probably think of basketball and Air Jordans. Okay. The running shoes, everyone or a lot of people want Air Jordans. I personally have never had a pair. I've looked at them. I really can't actually, you know, set myself that I want to spend that type of money on a pair of running shoes. But again, you know, sometimes you just want to have those shoes that might be comfortable, might be for basketball, etc. Then Jennifer Aniston. Okay. And I've done these sessions with Aaron quite a few times. And certainly, you know, we have this little thing going here with Jennifer Aniston and Aveeno. Now, if she is using that Aveeno cream, and I looked it up before this call because I had to find out, she's 52 years old, and wow, like her skin is fabulous. And if it's all Aveeno, I don't know why we're all not using Aveeno right now. I need to use more of it. If I'm going to look as beautiful as her, I'm golden. Now, let's be honest, you know, I'm sure it's not just Aveeno, but again, people will think that as soon as they think of Aveeno and Jennifer Aniston, it's like, wow, she's 52 and look at her skin. So it's these type of things. Marketers know how to play on what we like and also play on those emotions.
Hey Gary, I got to jump in here, right? I got to jump in because we're each the presidents of our local chapters of the Friends fan club, right?
Yeah.
No, we're not actually people. No, we're not really like that. Yeah, no. But that's really good point there, Gary. I just a couple of comments that came in, and a few of the questions I think we're going to save for later, but we've got a few really good ones that have come in. Okay. But one person just said that they're actually very brand loyal, which can be both bad and good. Can you see what they mean by that, about being bad and good to be brand loyal?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. There's certain things that, you know, like, for example, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and the person might jump in as well. When it comes to ketchup, there was a huge thing when it comes to ketchup where you might want to, you know, try the French's because it's apparently Canadian compared to the Heinz. And in my house, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm stuck on Heinz. I can't do it. Same thing with peanut butter. I am stuck on Kraft peanut butter. I can't get away from it. So absolutely, I agree with that comment.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes maybe your product is more expensive, so it could be on the bad side, right? Yes. Yeah, but definitely could agree with that comment. Someone else just made a comment that said they advise that you usually look for a cheaper product. That way you can save a little money. And also you can donate cans and bottles to Sarcan. And Sarcan is an organization then out here in Saskatchewan, Gary. That's a good place for donating and recycling too. So just a good comment from that student as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I am going to hand it back to you, and we got a few more questions, but we'll get to them in a bit, everyone.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So I appreciate that. And absolutely, when it comes to, you know, even recycling and stuff like that, you know, take a look at some of these bottle drives and stuff like that, you know, hand them over to some of the kids. I've been doing that with my neighbors with their hockey, handing over the bottles and cans to them and letting them earn a little bit of money. But certainly, yes, with the brands, you may spend a little bit more money sticking to a specific brand. You know, like I was saying before, Kraft peanut butter, I'm pretty stuck on Kraft peanut butter. Have I tried others? 100%. I've tried Jif, I've tried them all. You know, even the Au Naturel ones. But I still keep coming back to that Kraft one. Now, one thing that I've realized, and I keep shopping around for it, I buy the huge tubs of Costco ones. I've even started to find on Amazon, they're even cheaper on Amazon now. Okay, it's like $7 for a huge container. So yes, totally agree with, you know, the comment, even Aaron saying sometimes sticking to a specific brand can be more expensive. So you have to keep that in mind. Take a look at what you're actually purchasing and why are you purchasing it? Is it the taste? You know, even razors. Here's another example. So when it comes to razors, and I'm not picking on anyone or anything like that, but I've heard many, many times where women will jump in and say, yep, you know, women's razors are fine, but why am I going to spend that money just to get a woman's razor when I could get the exact same thing, if not a little bit better, get the guys' razors, you know? So totally look at that, take a, you know, see what they're doing, how are they advertising it, and see what changes can be made to save a little bit of money there, okay? Now, here are some powerful questions when it comes to emotions. How are they trying to sell you a product and or feeling? How are they influencing your desire for this product? Can you achieve that desire without spending the money? What will this product give you that you don't have now? And does the cost match the amount of joy, pride, or status that you will get out of this product? Okay, so take a look at that. Will I get the same amount of joy out of the product if it's not, let's say, Under Armour? Okay, I've tried, and this is myself personally. So, you know, I'll wear Under Armour, you know, the heat gear when I play sports or whatever like that. I've tried others. Trust me, I've tried even the Walmart brand. I keep going back to the Under Armour stuff just because of the feel, because of the material. I know I'm spending more money, but at least I've given the other stuff a shot. You know, so certainly try that. Try trying the other products, see if they make sense. You might find something that, you know what, the Walmart brand is just that much better than paying for the brand name celebrity stuff. Okay. All right. So taking a look, here's another question to certainly ask yourself. How much time do you spend on social media? Now, if anyone on this call says, I don't spend any time on social media, I'm going to have to call your bluff. When it comes to social media, it'd be shocking how much time we spend on it. If you have an iPhone, they can track that now. You can actually have that as an app or enable it so that you can track how you're spending your time on your phone. I've come to realize that I'm spending a lot of time on social media that I never realized how much before, okay? So take a look at that, see how much time you spend on social media. Now, when it comes to social media, it is created to be addictive. That positive engagement, the likes, the activities, the reward centers of your brain. So being on Facebook, being on Twitter or Instagram, having those likes, having the hearts, you know, you just want to keep going. Or you put something on TikTok and all of a sudden it becomes viral. That's where you're like, so many people are going for that. It's like, my video went viral. Like, this is amazing. But TikTok is one of those things that totally is addictive, where you sit down, you try looking at TikTok quickly, and it's like all of a sudden an hour, 2 hours has already gone by. I find those videos absolutely, just so many that are hilarious, and you just keep flipping because you want to see another one. You want to see another one. So take a look at that, see how much social media you're actually doing, okay? Looking at technology, retailers buy the information and advertise items that fit with your interest. And it really is that targeted advertising. So when it comes to that targeted advertising, if you've been on your phone, let's say you Googled something, and recently I was Googling beds. So I was looking at buying a new mattress, and all of a sudden, because I Googled it, I went on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, and the advertisements that were coming up were for new beds, new mattresses. So not just Sleep Country, it was like The Brick and etc., Leon's, all this stuff. And it was like, oh, wow, they really are paying attention. So keep that in mind. Think about what you're actually Googling or what you're looking at. Same thing with rewards on your credit cards. For all the teachers that are out there or anyone that has a credit card, if you have a rewards credit card where you do earn points, they will actually look at those points, look at your purchases, and then target the advertising to what you're actually buying. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to some technology tips, unsubscribe from those email lists. Okay, if anyone has kids on the call, the Carters, the Old Navy, those type of things, Tommy Hilfiger, they send a lot of emails. Usually it's great prices, but you don't need to be getting them maybe every day. So, if you want, unsubscribe from those email lists so that you don't feel that you have to make a purchase. Set reminders to cancel those free trials. It is a key thing to make sure that you set an alarm for yourself so that you do cancel the subscriptions or those free trials. Disney had one recently when The Mandalorian came out. Initially, it was 1 month free, and then you could, people were binge watching The Mandalorian. It's like, no, I gotta watch it. But then they started realizing that all the Marvel stuff is on there, so they started looking more and more, and then you're sucked in, and then all of a sudden it's like, yep, I'm gonna pay for my subscription to Disney Plus. So set those reminders, especially if you're just trying to figure something out, see if it works, because if it doesn't work out and you forget about that free trial, some of those costs can be quite substantial. Okay, delete your cookies and your search history on a regular basis. Again, as I said before, don't save your credit card info online. And don't forget to try putting some limits on social media use. Okay, I certainly do it with my kids. But you can look at limiting some of that social media use for yourself. Put the phone down, put it away. Don't look at TikTok all the time and look at all the trends that are going on or the dances. All right. Now, trying to keep up with the Joneses, looking at this, the people surround yourself with can influence your behaviors. And we certainly will strive to belong, to keep up with the people around us. So if your family or friends or even your neighbors are traveling all the time, you might get that itch. It's like, you know what? I want to travel too. I want to go to all these places. So take a look at that. Look at purchases. If everyone around you is buying certain things or a certain product, that might influence your decision. If everyone's going to concerts or hockey games, football games, whatever it may be, you kind of want to do the same things that they're doing. And then the extracurriculars or children's activities. If you're anything like me, my kids are young, so I don't have to deal with it yet. But my next door neighbor has 4 kids, 2 in competitive hockey, 1 competitive dance. I see the amount of time that they spend where they're always go, go, go. The early morning practices, the late night practices, they're just always on the road. They eat dinner at weird times and we kind of make fun of them for it because it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they're having dinner and then they're rushing out the door. So these things will start to influence the neighbors around us, especially me, looking at that. I'm hoping my girls don't get into all of that stuff that they have, but you never know. Another one I like to share is, and Aaron knows this about me, I love Christmas. Okay. Holiday season, by the way, 39 days away until Christmas. For all those that do celebrate, I love Christmas so much that I put up so many lights on my house. If you haven't watched the movie Christmas Vacation, please watch it over the holidays. I am Clark Griswold. I'm just a larger version of him. I love putting lights everywhere on my house. If I see a blank spot, it's like, okay, what lights can I buy or what can I buy to put there? My wife and children, they kind of roll their eyes now at this point because dad just keeps doing it. But I've started actually influencing all my neighbors on the street because they see Gary's house and it's all lit up. So now all of them are trying to light up their houses. So, it's not just influences when it comes to, the purchasing and the travel, but it's also Christmas lights. Okay. All right. Again, looking at those cultural norms and holidays, figure out what kind of influences are happening when it comes to engagement rings. They say you should be spending roughly 3 months' salary on an engagement ring. Okay. My wife's obviously not on the call. It is hush hush. There is no way I spent that much money on her engagement ring, but she doesn't need to know that. It's the thought that counts, right? The other thing when it comes to wedding bands, if you're anything like me, who is the type of person that would lose a wedding band on a regular basis, hence why I bought mine on Amazon for $25. So if I ever lost my wedding band, I know that I can go to Amazon and order one and get it delivered the next day for 25 bucks. Okay. So take a look at that, see where you can help yourself out and save some money as well. Weddings can be very expensive. Coming of age ceremonies, the sweet 16s, turning 18, 21, etc. They can be a very expensive time. Mother's Day and Father's Day, you know, do you really need one day to celebrate your parents? Probably not. Celebrate them every day. All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Aaron. I think you might have a poll coming up here.
You bet. And Gary, I think we could actually get to a couple of questions right now too, while we have you here. And folks, again, if you do have one, please type a question in the Q&A. As I said this, 2 more popped up. Gary, do you just relating to that last slide, do you have any tips about how holidays, and you said for those who celebrate Christmas and so on, right?
Yeah.
But, any tips about perhaps how we can save money around the holidays, since that's such a relevant topic right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing to say, try saving some money around the holiday season, and it kind of came up a little bit on one of the last calls. I've heard it before as well, where, you don't always want to be spending money on all these presents or gifts or whatnot. Why not just get together as a family, have a little cook off, celebrate by cooking, pick a country and teams and have like a little gift. I do that in my family where we all team up. We pick a country and an ingredient, and then we make that appetizer. And then our prize, just so that I'll tell you, it's actually a picture of a British soldier with one of those big black hats, and he's standing there with a goat. So that's our prize. And one of the key things is that you have to display that picture in your house if you are the winner. So, just fun stuff like that you can do.
Good. Yeah. And, setting a budget across a family, right, can be a good way of doing things too, or doing the draws for gifts as well, as we've talked about before too. Gary, lots of comments coming in actually just about people saying that they actually make it a practice of limiting their social media use, some by choice and some by parents' choice. So I think either way, that's a good thing, whether you realize it or not, folks. That's a good thing. Someone mentioned here, where is that comment? The person said, once I was just talking about a product and then it started putting up a bunch of ads on their social media, on their phone, and they said, that's kind of creepy.
Yes.
Give me your thoughts on that, Gary.
My first question would be, do you have a Alexa or something like that in your home? And if you do, they are listening. It's kind of surprising that they would listen, but I've actually come to realize, even with if you have Siri activated on your phones, or like I have an iWatch, if I'm starting to talk about something or buying something, all of a sudden my watch will Google it and come up with some of those things. So depends, you certainly unlock a lot of those things, but take a look at what technology you have in your home and just know that, yes, they are listening.
Definitely. And checking your apps too, to see which apps have access to your microphone can be a good thing, just for your own privacy too, right?
Yes.
It's just, I agree with the person who said that this is a creepy thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Definitely playing to everything that you've mentioned already about people targeting our spending habits here. Someone made the comment, if you get your ring tattooed, you can't lose it. Very good point. I think we're looking at the good and bad side of things here at the same time, though. So sure. Someone said, I totally agree. It's the thought that counts. I think they were referring to engagement rings.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let that one slide right now. Okay, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary, you've mentioned A couple times you've talked about credit and credit cards. And by the way, I know
Yes.
that there are a lot of students here who wouldn't have one yet, but you could definitely be telling your parents or guardian some of these great tips that Gary's given you today too. But
Right.
one question did come in earlier that said, how old do you have to be to get a credit card?
Right. So in order to have a credit card in Canada, you have to be 18 years old to get your own credit card. There are other ways, certainly monitored by your parents. They can activate you as a user with them, but ideally it would be 18. And there's a lot of things that you just have to keep in mind when it comes to credit cards. Just be cautious. You know, the limits can be very tempting. Trust me on that one. You know, depending on what you're trying to buy, you know, there's a lot of things that can be quite expensive, and I'll show you a little later on about the cost of credit. Okay.
Yeah, Gary will be talking more about this coming up. I just want to see, I see there's a couple more I'm going to save to the end here. Thanks so much for all these questions, everybody. Oh, is there any way to prevent the ads from coming up? And again, I think looking at any of your apps that you may have, different social media platforms, look in your security to see what your settings are, looking at the setting themselves inside the settings of your phone, right? Just to do that. And if you're not sure what to do, definitely ask one of the, you know, a trusted role model in your life to help you out with that for sure.
It's
Definitely.
not, Siri is, I think, just an Apple thing, but hearing things, it's also just a Google thing. Like there, you know, even having an Android phone, there may be something in there. Google, I have a buddy that just has Android, and all of a sudden it started listening or whatever, and things started popping up. So it could be just a Google thing. One other question that I just want to touch base on is, because we were talking about cultural norms and holidays, is looking at gift students who are expecting their parents to finance their grade 8 farewell and grade 12 graduation parties. Now, again, I'm obviously giving a bit of a personal opinion here when it comes to that, but you know what? It is something that you need to celebrate. Absolutely, 100%. But one thing that I came to realize when I was younger, and I realized it later on, that, you know, my mom was a single mom. She spent a lot of money to help me out. I didn't realize at that time what she was doing for me. Now, when it comes to the graduations, one thing that I can suggest, especially the grade 12s, you probably are working a little bit. You probably have maybe a little bit of income coming in. My suggestion, make a deal with your parents. Make a deal to say, you know what, I'll cover half, or I'll cover $100 or two. Come up with something that they're going to agree with, and put a little bit of work into it yourself. Or, you know what, do a bottle drive, gain some money that way. Go around and rake some leaves or shovel some driveways. Just make a little bit of extra coin, just that you can put towards that graduation to help pay for the limo. Don't be surprised, or don't be afraid to share the cost with friends. You know, limos, obviously tucks and stuff you can't, but like when it comes to limos and stuff, share the cost with others. Why are you going to drive around in a limo by yourself? Come on.
There are lots of ways to be creative with spending, and just considering what you're actually spending your money on for those events, right? And even, I know, Gary, you talk about budgeting a lot, like setting a budget for with your, you know, with your parents or guardians on how much you know, they're able to spend or willing to spend, and maybe doing some fundraising, like you said. Great idea for sure. And folks, again, tons of great questions coming in for Gary, and we're going to get to a few more later. I am going to ask you one more question that you can participate in here before we move on, though, relating to what Gary has been talking about already. But students, I'd like to know, what are the two biggest influences on what you spend your money on right now? So is it what your friends are buying? Gary's been talking about keeping up with the Joneses. Does your family have a big influence on what you can actually spend your money on? Online advertising, as we've just been talking about, other types of advertising in different media, celebrity endorsements, as Gary mentioned, spur of the moment decisions. So just saying, I want that now, I'm going to buy it, right? Or thinking about what you can actually afford. So maybe you do budget what money you do have coming in. So any more thoughts on that? Again, teachers, you can just put in the top two from your entire class. And we'll just wait to see what else comes in here. Here we go. We've got some answers coming in. Spur of the moment and budget are leading the pack. Friends and family are up there now. They're chasing. Yeah, most people are saying budget. Oh, friends is really creeping up though. All right, just a couple more seconds here, folks. And there we go. So yeah, we're seeing that a lot of people's influences are, or they're influenced by what their friends are buying, as Gary was talking about with keeping up the Joneses, and a lot by what you budget and what you can actually afford. And that totally does make sense for sure. Okay, so thanks again, everyone. Keep in mind, you can keep putting some questions in the Q&A, and at the end of this session, I will ask those questions to Gary. Turning it back to you, Gary.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys answering that poll. I love seeing the answer that you are budgeting and that you are sticking within your means. That means you're well ahead of the game. I really do appreciate that. And because of that, I just want to share the two resources that I do have available with you. So one of them is up on the screen now. It's an Excel spreadsheet. This is our website, mymoneycoach.ca. You can download this budgeting tool for free through our website. We not only have just the regular one, which is this one, but we have one for students specifically. So if you're looking at doing any post-secondary schooling, you know, what kind of cost will come up with that, and we're going to talk about that later. Take a look at the student budget, figure that out, go through it, see what kind of expenses will come up. Now, I'm not going to go through everything here on the budget, but what I want to point out is how in depth we go with this budgeting tool. Now, you could see, you know, what are you spending your money on? You know, is there any type of lottery or gaming? You know, do you do any online gaming that you might be spending money on? Hobbies, magazines? But what about laundry? You know, that's one thing that I always like to point out, especially if you are going to continue your education, or even if you want to move out from your parents' place. You know, you might not have the washer and dryer in your apartment or at school right accessible to you. So you might have to go to the lower levels or whatever to get that, but you have to pay for the laundry. You have to pay for the wash, pay for the dry. So keep that in mind. That needs to be part of the budget. Go in, take a look at this budgeting tool. You know, obviously I'm recommending it because it is on our website, but I really do like it. And since it's an Excel spreadsheet, you can take things out that don't apply and put things in, okay? And then it'll calculate and total everything for you at the end. Now, the other tool that I want to share really for certainly the teachers, even the students as well, if you're ever talking about trying to figure out, you know, debit cards, credit cards, that was one of the questions that was up there, you know, certainly some of the differences between the two. A credit card is really they're very similar products. Like, I mean, they look the same, but a credit card, you are borrowing the money. It's not actually yours. You're borrowing the money with the promise to pay it back later. And I will show you a slide later about the cost of credit. Whereas debit, you are using the money that you currently have in your bank account. Okay, that's the main difference between the two. Now, let's say you are trying to figure out what bank account makes sense for me. What you could do is you could click on this tool. So this is on the FCAC website, Financial Consumer Agency of Canada. It's Government of Canada website. You could go to it, pick up Saskatchewan. I'm looking for a checking account. That's an everyday account. I'm looking for Canadian funds, and I'm a student. And then hit search. And what will happen is there's actually 45 results of banks in Saskatchewan that offer some type of student banking. Okay, now they'll give a brief overview of their key things of what they offer, but you can also, if you wanted to, you can actually compare two banks. So I'm going to compare TD student banking with Scotia, and you can see here that it breaks it down for you, the difference between the two. You know, one of the key things, especially with youth, is trying to figure out how many transactions are included. Scotia, it's unlimited. Whereas with TD, you're limited to only 25 transactions. Okay, so keep that in mind. Take a look at the fees that are associated with it. You know, how much is the monthly fees, etc. So take a look at that. Keep that in mind. Try this tool out. Okay. All right. Now, how do marketers make you spend money? Well, some of the stuff that they will do is, especially if you're a reader, when it comes to the ratings, the reviews, the labels that they will create, if you're a reader and you go into Chapters or Indigo, you might be going in just to take a look at a book, see what's available. You might start looking at those bestseller books, seeing that sticker on there that says bestseller. You might actually want to buy it, most popular, highly recommended, or even the rated 5 stars. Another one that will show up as well is staff picks. You might be influenced knowing that, okay, staff have read these books. They're recommending it, so that means it must be good. I'm going to take a look at it. Okay. Keep that in mind. Or even the Oprah books. Are you influenced by buying that book because it's an Oprah book club book? Okay. Keep that in mind. Take a look, see what's actually making you buy that book. Okay. Other than wanting to read it, of course. Looking at brands and labels. Use multiple labels when shipping items increases that positive emotion. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I come home, or I'm certainly working from home, when my doorbell rings, I'm like a kid in a candy store, or I'm like a dog. It's like I'm running to the door. It's like, what kind of package do I have today? So if you don't know this picture, that's an Amazon sticker. I think the delivery guys are going to get to know my address a little bit, certainly with the holidays, ordering everything online. So these type of labels do bring a sense of positive emotion. They know that. They're starting to market even the boxes, put certain things on it. Right now there's an Olaf thing. Disney with Mandalorian, they put that all over the boxes as well. And it's a higher likelihood of the customer loyalty as well as repeat purchases. Now, taking a look at the scarcity, retailers know that we often want what we can't have. Absolutely 100%. If there is a feeling of low supply, limited edition, or a sale ending soon, we will probably buy it. If I went into Canadian Tire or even Lowe's or something like that, and I saw something where it was like low supply, I'm buying it. Even though I probably don't need it, I'm probably going to buy it just because it's like, it's low supply. It might not be in existence anymore. One example I always like to share in this instance is the limited edition stuff. If you've ever watched the show Big Bang Theory, Sheldon Cooper loves limited edition stuff. So he was going into the comic book store. He went and saw Stuart, and he was looking to buy a present for Leonard. And what he did is Stuart recommended a limited edition Aquaman statue. Now, looking at that, right away, it was like Sheldon was like, score, I'm going to get this limited edition. But as soon as Stuart said it was limited edition, Sheldon had to have it, okay, for his own collection. So Sheldon bought it. Stuart jacked up the price, of course. He left with it. And then Stuart reached down behind the counter and pulled out another Aquaman. So much for limited edition, right? So keep in mind, take a look at what it actually is. Is it really limited edition or not? Is it really going to supply? Is the supply really ending? Another one that is not up there is stores like Walmart or even Costco. If they put things at the end of the aisle, you think it's on sale. Sometimes it is, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of times where it's actually not a sale item and they're just trying to get rid of it because they have overstock. Okay, so keep that in mind, take a look at it, go down the aisle and see what the actual regular price was. Okay. Retailers know that if they give you something for free, you'll feel more obligated to buy it. So the free trials, sample tables, and in-store testers and giveaways. If you've ever been to Costco, either with your parents or whatever, they have those sample tables all over the place. You go and try something, you really like it, you buy the product right next to them. You don't even have to walk through the store. Trust me, the thing is right next to you. So take a look at that. My colleague actually does this during his lunch hours. He'll go and save a bit of money and walk around Costco, trying all the samples, and he has lunch that way. Okay, so you never know. You might want to do that as well. Okay. Now, looking at the power of 9, our brains associate the number 9 as a deal or a discount. Now, this method has been shown to increase sales actually by 24%. Now, you look at the original price of $84.95, so it's $95, but it's on sale now for $79.99. Not a huge savings, but people will look at it and say, it's under $80. It's $79.99. I'm going to buy it. Okay, so that power of 9 will actually make you want to buy something. What about the pink gender pricing? So this is actually called, it's called the pink tax. Now, items that are pink in color are generally more expensive. And it can actually cost $1,300 more a year in extra costs, okay? I have 2 girls myself. I look around my house, I'm outnumbered. I have pink everywhere. I think I'm just gonna start wearing pink so I don't feel out of place. But when it comes to pink, you know, they literally know that they can charge more for an item that is pink, okay? So take a look at that, compare your items. Sometimes, you know, literally it's different items, but if there is an item that is the exact same, one blue, one pink, and it's like, okay, the pink one is $2 more, like, come on. So take a look at that and think about that pink tax. Now, some powerful questions to ask about marketing. What are they trying to sell me? What are they doing to influence my purchase? How are they trying to get me to spend more money? And how are they making it so easy for me to buy this product? Now, something that we can look at is looking at that virtual store. Techniques used by websites that will cause you to spend more include that discounts in abandoned shopping carts. Okay, I'm probably notorious for this. I get email after email. So you sign up or you're looking online, you want to buy something, but you want to see how much the shipping is. So you go through all the steps, you find out how the shipping is, and then you're like, nope, I'm not paying that. And you X out, that's it. You'll get an email saying, hey, Gary, you abandoned your shopping cart. There's still some stuff left. One more click and you'll be able to purchase it, okay? They get you to come back. That's what they do. The email notifications, the bonus gifts, or free shipping. They always, you know, lately, especially now with Black Friday coming up, with the holiday season, free shipping is going to be, you know, on the mind of everyone. Everyone doesn't want to pay for the shipping. So they'll get you to spend a little extra money, you know, spend $75 and we'll give you free shipping. It makes you actually want to buy things, or it makes you buy things that you don't really need just to get you over that $75 threshold. Have you ever been online looking at stuff and you're really close to that $75? You're, let's say, at $69 and some odd cents. So it's like, okay, I just need to go back in and find something for like $6 to get the free shipping. Promise you, the chances of you finding something for $6 is next to nil. You're going to end up spending $15 and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I just bought something that I don't really need, but I wanted the free shipping. Okay. Saving that payment information that we talked about before, suggested products, product reviews. So taking a look, you know, even on Amazon, you might look at the reviews, take a look at what they're offering. You might not buy it because the reviews are so bad, and just a few clicks. So keep that in mind, that when you are looking to buy something, don't save that credit card info on there. Give yourself that extra minute to think about what you're buying. Now, looking at the power of time, give yourself time to make a decision on that purchase. The more expensive an item, the more time you need to reflect on it. For example, if the item is $1,000, divide that by $20 an hour. If that's what you're making, let's say, that's 50 hours of work. Okay, so why not flip it and say, okay, it's a big purchase, it's $1,000 item, 50 hours of work. That means I need to think about it for 2 or 3 days before I actually buy that item. Okay, so the bigger the item, the more time you're actually going to think about it and research it and figure out if it's something that you need. One thing, talking about this power of time, that I'll throw in here, let's say down the road you're looking to buy a car. Okay, because you might be in an area where public transit might not be accessible, and you kind of need a car in order to get to school, get to work, whatever. And you're trying to figure out, do I have the money to lease or finance a car, make monthly payments? My suggestion for you, if you are going to look at this option, start putting the money away for a couple of months before you actually buy the car. See if you can actually do it. See if you know your pay can actually sustain those monthly payments over that period of time. Then after a couple of months, you could possibly go and buy the car. Or let's say you've decided, you know what, no, that's not the car for me. I'm actually going to go cheaper. You've just saved X amount of dollars. And then you might realize, you know what, I'm going to continue this process because I was able to do it. And then all of a sudden you have some good savings saved up. Okay. Now, looking at taking a little turn, a little flip, just to give you some examples of some expenses when it comes to schooling. If you are ever trying to plan for that extra post-secondary, education, think of the school costs. These are typical expenses: housing, food and groceries, communication, certainly the internet or even your phone, transportation, entertainment, as well as personal stuff. Now, when it comes to transportation, something to consider. If you're going to go to school out of province or a little farther away from home, think about that. How much do I need to pay on transportation? Think about having more money. What do I do? How do I pay for school? Consider bursaries. These are based on your need. Okay. Scholarships are based on merit. Grants are based on listed criteria, and certainly do your best to apply for absolutely everything possible. And the worst they're going to say is no. Okay, so there are two websites up here. Certainly the ones that are not live, they are www.yconic.com or www.scholarshipscanada.com. So take a look at that, see where you can apply for things if you are planning that post-secondary. Now, let's say you are considering a student loan. Student loan is money you borrow from the government to pay for school. It is paid to you in a lump sum, and it is to cover your books, your tuition, as well as your living expenses. But you have to keep in mind that if you are going to do this, you need to make it last the entire semester. Okay, so you need to, you just can't, if they give you $5,000, you can't just go and, you know, buy your books, buy your tuition, pay your first month's rent, and then have a big party. You got to actually make that $5,000 last. Okay, no payments are required while you are in school either. Another thing that you can do is look for some employment, some part-time jobs or full-time jobs. Consider a campus job. Work in the library, work in the bookstore, student safety, student associations. You might be able to find some work that way. Work on something connected to your studies. Balance of school, certainly do your best to balance school and workload with external responsibilities, and the offsets from living costs to borrow less. Okay. Now, taking a quick look at how much credit actually costs. Let's say we spent $3,000. We're going to be going to school post-secondary, and we buy a new MacBook. Okay, we spent $3,000 on a computer. Yes, you can easily spend $3,000 on a computer, but you put it on your credit card for now, and you're going to make monthly payments. Okay, the interest rate on that credit card is 19.9%. Typical Canadian interest rate. The monthly payments on that, $60 a month. Okay, that's the minimum payment that you have to make in order to keep the credit card in good standing. It will take you almost 53 years to pay off that credit card. And the reason behind that is the interest that you pay. You will pay over $12,000. So your MacBook has now become, instead of paying $3,000 initially, over that 53-year term, it probably doesn't exist anymore. You've actually spent $15,000. Okay, that's if you just make minimum payments on a credit card. Now, same example, but give me a sec here. $3,000, same interest rate. You can apply a little bit more. So let's say you really do need a computer for school. Okay, I've been in this situation. Absolutely, was making payments on it, but I did get a job on campus. So this is something that you could consider. You're going to pay the $60 minimum, but you're working on campus. You're making a little extra coin. Throw an extra $40 on it. So now you're paying $100 instead of just $60. It takes you 3.5 years to pay it off. So that could be the duration of your school. Just under $1,200 in interest. Looking at that, it's like, you know what? It's a little bit more manageable. While I'm in school, I'm making these payments for the laptop that I need to actually continue my education. Okay. So some final thoughts. You have to keep in mind, education is an investment. Your return should be a higher paying career. Manage your money now so that you can repay your debt later. Okay. I'm not going to be like Smokey the Baron, no forest fires. You need to stay in school. Look, if you are going to continue your education, understand that you're investing in your future. Okay. If you want to follow us on social media, right now on Twitter this month, we are going through some top 10 lists. We have some books, top 10 financial literacy books. I did one on cooking on a budget. Totally look at Twitter on mymoneycoach.ca and see what we have to offer there. And if you do need any other help or know somebody that might need some help, or even if you have questions about certain things, loans, whatever, give us a call. Ask the question. We'd be happy to answer it for you. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing here. I'm going to turn it back over to Aaron. I think we're going to take a look at some of these questions and go from there.
Yes, there we go. You bet, Gary. Thanks so much for all of that information. And yeah, we do have some questions, and folks, here's the time to ask Gary some questions. So if anything has come up, especially as a class, teachers, you could type in a question on behalf of your class. We've got a few. Some of you should be able to see on your screen right now that I have put up a feedback link. So while we're asking these questions, if you do have an opportunity to scan this QR code or to put in the URL that you see on your screen, then you will be able to give us some feedback on this. We take this feedback to help our future events, and we also want to see what else you want to learn about in terms of financial literacy so that we can put on some events that are really meaningful for you. So that's just fantastic. And by the way, folks, I just want to mention too that it's so great. I think one lesson that you could take away from this too is just that when it comes to finances, that there is so much to learn. And just having this conversation today and thinking about this today is a starting point for some of you, I'm sure. And also just knowing that there are people like Gary and the Credit Counselling Society out there and lots of different organizations who can give you advice and who can help you along the way, especially if you run into some trouble. That should be something we hope that's empowering for you and going to help you with that career and life journey going forward for sure. So Gary, we are going to get to a few questions here that I am going to put to you. So we're going to start at the top of the list, and this one came in a while ago, so thank you for being patient. This person wanted to know if you have any suggestions when it comes to people managing money, if they happen to have some mental health struggles that they're going through. So perhaps this is leading to them being in some financial trouble, I'm assuming. Gary, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to this, one thing, without getting into anything, the only suggestion I can make here is have somebody around that you trust to help you with your finances. Don't assume that you can do it all by yourself. Have somebody, a parent, a brother, even a really good trusted friend to just help you with this stuff to make sure that you are making sound decisions. Just don't always do it on your own. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think that's definitely true for any situation that a lot of people can find themselves in, right? Or just if they're finding some struggling with finance, for sure. Another question came in earlier saying, is there an easier way to save and make money? Now, I think you've given a lot of suggestions throughout. Budgeting is a huge thing, right? In terms of saving money and really considering and taking time to think about things before you make these purchases. You mentioned some good tips about making money. By the way, when I was in university, I was a scribe for other students who had difficulty writing exams. And so I'd actually write out their exams for them as they were dictating the answers to me. And just a job I didn't even know exists, but I figured it out when I was there. It's kind of neat. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that, Gary?
Patience and hard work.
And hey, I'm looking out the window right now, folks. It's snowing. Maybe you have a shovel in your house. I'm just saying, there's probably some folks in your neighborhood who could use a hand, right? Is it always best to buy family-sized products over the base size? What a great question, Nathan.
Yeah, it is a great question, and best answer there. Certainly, it depends on the size of the family. Depends on how you're going to use it. When it comes to the family size stuff, you have to keep in mind, am I going to actually get through this before it expires? Do I have the family size big enough to accommodate that family size stuff? Family size stuff, the other thing too, it's not always cheaper. So We didn't talk about it here today, but something that you might consider is price per unit. So consider that price per unit. Costco is really big with putting the price per unit. So example, cucumbers, 3 for $2.99. Well, technically that's 3 for $1 each, so consider that price per unit. Bulk items are not always cheaper.
Excellent. Thanks, Gary. Next question. You answered before, how old do you have to be for a credit card? How old do you have to be to get a debit card? This person's wondering, and maybe you could tell a little bit about the difference between the two.
Yeah, so when it comes to that debit card, you could certainly set that up right now with your parents before the age of, if I'm not mistaken, 14 or 16. You could set that up with your parents. My kids are 4 and 9, and they both have debit cards right now. They have kids accounts. They certainly don't use them, but that is an option. Now, the main difference between the two, debit card, you have the money in your bank account and you're using what you currently have. A credit card, you are borrowing the money with the promise to pay it back later. So you don't actually have the money, you're borrowing it from the credit card company with the promise to pay it back later.
Excellent. And this is awesome advice, students. We were just working with a local financial expert just a couple of weeks ago, whose advice was if you don't have it in your debit account, you shouldn't be paying for it with your credit card. Now, that might go different ways for different people depending on the situation you're in, right? But his point was the same as Gary's there. If you have it in your debit account, then you already have the money to spend, right? Whereas credit, you may not have the money to pay for it, which requires lots more thinking, as Gary was saying before.
Yeah.
So another person just made a comment saying that they currently figure out what they want and why they want it, and then they save up. So assuming they're making sure that it's not a spur of the moment decision. Okay, so this person is doing a lot of thinking and maybe setting that budget, right? Which is a good thing. Same person we were working with a couple of weeks ago suggests that you set your expenses and you don't track them. So you don't just buy a bunch of stuff and then add up what you spent, but rather set your budget and then figure out what you're going to spend your money on, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. A person was saying, if you are about to buy a vehicle, should you also be looking at the tools you need to fix that vehicle? I think there's a lot of ways of looking at that one. Gary, what do you think?
Why not? Makes sense. Hey, if you could throw some tools in there, have the YouTube videos playing and try figuring out how to make some small repairs, maybe not brakes on your first shot, but because that is the key thing to the car, but absolutely, why not? Challenge yourself a little bit, and educate yourself without a doubt.
Well, and with Gary's information, folks, about taking time to think about, especially those huge decisions like buying a vehicle, taking that time also means researching, right? And he mentioned reading ratings and comments that people have made on it. You got to be careful with those sometimes, right? But finding places where you can research the quality of the vehicle you're buying, so hopefully you don't need those tools, would be a good thing to do as well. Yeah. Gary, why do we buy things not needed even though we can go close to broke? I think you've covered a few reasons here, haven't you?
you just want them. It's as simple as that. You just want that item. Even looking at this next one, like, can we go broke from buying cheese? Yes, you can.
And Gary, yes. I'm going to answer that for you. I can read your mind. You're probably thinking, if you're buying the limited edition pink cheese where the price ends in a 9, you're definitely going to go broke, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Or some nice stinky blue cheese.
Stay away from that stuff. Is a summer job a good idea, Gary?
100%. Absolutely. Do that summer job. You get some hard work done, but also it shows you to save some money, especially if you're doing a summer job where you could be outside. You might get a nice tan as well, gain some experience. But yeah, by all means, do a summer job, earn some money so that you have something to go, spend later on, or even buy things that you really wanted.
Perfect. Thanks very much for that. I'm going to answer this next one, Gary. A person wanted to know, how do I find education if I don't know now and can't find what type of education I want? Okay. I think this has a lot to do with your career planning, right? And I mentioned at the start, and I'll show you in a bit again, that our saskatooniec.ca site, we've got a lot of resources for you to explore career paths and to explore the different education opportunities that you have. Okay, so hopefully our programming can help you with that. And if you're, you know, just in school right now, now's the time to be doing that research, right? And again, talk to role models in your life, people in your school, and really make sure that you're making an informed decision. As Gary said, you want to make sure that your education decision is going to match those future goals, whether it's financial or just your personal employment goals that you may have, right? Yep. Let's see what else. Oh, we just had that question twice.
I like this one here with the, if you're addicted to something like cheese, how much money could it actually add up to, or like coffee? You know, obviously you like cheese and that's fine. I feel like you need to be living in Wisconsin, but you know, whether it's cheese, whether it's coffee, I'll give you the example. So if I spend $2 every day on a coffee, let's say from McDonald's, I'm spending $730 in a year. Now, if you really like cheese that much and you're going to be buying cheese on a daily basis, just make sure it's part of your budget. I don't care what you're actually buying, but just make sure it's part of your budget. If you've come to realize that you're spending $40, $50, $100 on cheese in a week, and it's like, you know what, I don't have that much money to spend, I only have $20, well, you need to make some sacrifices and actually, you know, cut down the amount of cheese or coffee that you're going to be spending in that week.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Gary, for that. There is a question, Gary. I don't know if you see the one about the specific app and whether it's legit or not, but I know definitely if you're looking at apps about, you know, saving money or apps that help you track your own money and your own spending and stuff, definitely do some research on those, right, Gary? You want to make sure you know who, what companies are running these to make sure that they're legit, doing research on comments on that and stuff too. Would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I'm actually just looking it up as well. It's My Dough. It seems like it's American based. You know, it seems legit just quickly looking at it, but there are so many apps out there. You know, you could totally look at even mint.ca is another one that you could consider, or even just rely on what your bank account has. Your bank have a lot of tools available that you can totally look at there.
Good. Yeah, and somebody's saying that they see these apps all the time. Yeah, definitely. If you're going to sign up for any of these, just do your research, make sure it's safe, look into what their safety practices are, and so on. I think that is very important. Okay, so folks, I really want to thank you for all these questions that have come in, and Gary, I want to take a minute just to thank you again for sharing all this information with us. Gary has given up his time a few times with us over this month during Financial Literacy Month. So thanks for joining us all the way from Ottawa. Again, Gary, I hope the weather is better there than it is here. And yeah, we look forward to working with you again for sure.
Yes.
Awesome. And folks, just a couple more things that I just wanted to mention to you. Coming up next week on November 24th in the evening, we've got a workshop that's very specific about investing, and this is with Michael Isbister, who's a certified financial planner from IG Wealth Management. So if you're interested about investing, or maybe someone in your family's interested in this, this is a basic introduction to learning about what investing really is. And a couple months down the road, we're going to offer a follow-up that'll be kind of an intermediate step. So this would be a good event to join. You can go to saskmoney.ca/events for this Financial Literacy Month event. Also, just want to quickly remind you of the contest that I mentioned before. I know we got a few great teachers from Martensville on this event today who've done the virtual money fair and the money fair in the past. So definitely something, students and teachers, that we want you to check out. High school students, again, that My Money, My Future, look at that, 10 grand could be yours. How fantastic would that be at this point in your lives, for sure. And folks, I also wanted to just remind you about feedback. If you get an opportunity to scan that QR code or type in that URL, we would appreciate any feedback. And last thing I want to say, is that you can get in touch with us over all of these social media channels if you are on any of these platforms, just to keep up to date on the programming that the SIEC is offering. And at the bottom, you can see the saskatooniec.ca website as well as saskmoney.ca. I want to say a thank you to Michelle Hardy and the SIEC team who've supported this event. Thank Gary and the Credit Counselling Society for the fantastic work that they do. And I also want to thank the teachers and educators who signed up for this event, but who also helped spread the word. We really rely on that to get these opportunities out for the young people across our province to be more financially literate, more financially capable. Email address at the bottom of your screen right now, folks, if you need to get a hold of us for anything. And again, thank you very much for joining us today. We hope that you stay safe.